Welcome to A Simple Life, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a letdown. I was getting that last board all set up, and I screwed up. I cut the board at the wrong angle, and we're gonna fix it. We're gonna get it all dialed in and lined up perfect, but before we do that, we're gonna go feed the goats. I'm gonna borrow Herman's electric chainsaw to feed the goats today. Well, Merle's here with me. Hi, say hi, Merlesy. Hi, buddy. Yeah. So we're gonna feed our goats. I have Merle's with me. And oh, here comes Reba right now. I can see her coming through the woods. Big old beautiful girl she is. There she is. And I can hear my goats coming too. They want a meal. Hi, Reba. Oh, you're looking beautiful. You have thinned out. She lost all that baby fat. All right, so I am running with the electric chainsaw today, which means I don't need to use ear protection, which is really nice. Because to be quite honest, it's one of the main reasons. What the? I was gonna use the electric chainsaw, but the battery did not charge when it was plugged in. I don't know why, but it didn't charge. A little bit of a bummer because I've been meaning to use this. I want to use it and see how it compares when it comes to cutting brush and stuff. I know that this is a climbing saw. It's not really meant for cutting brush, but I really like the climbing saws because they're just balanced better in my hands. That's all. And Herman had one, so Herman has one for cutting his firewood and stuff. All right, well, let's get these guys fed. The goats are fed. They have more than enough feed. And as typical, I left one main portion of the maple. And the idea is that'll grow nice and big and tall. I don't mind big, tall maples, but I won't end up with as much of the pressure on the Doug firs around me. The canopy is not gonna be hurt because that big leaf maple is gonna explode with growth next year because it's gonna have all the nutrients coming from this huge root system that has been feeding all these other trees. The other thing that's gonna happen is all my Doug firs around here are gonna be able to grow bigger because they're gonna get more sun. We'll get in here and clear out some of this other brush another day. But this is positive. I'd love to get in here and actually pull out all this wood so it's not laying on the ground, but at the same time, as long as this stuff's laying on the ground, it'll start decomposing very, very quickly. Like over the course of the next 2 years, most of it'll probably pretty much be gone. I'm gonna go get some cold water and start working on the cooler. All right, let's give this another try. We're gonna see if this will work. All right, that's not the exact placement, but it's gonna help me get this better lined up. I know there are easier ways to do this. I can't do this on my chop saw. It doesn't quite have the right angles. And my table saw, it's kind of sketchy to try to do this angle on my table saw. And my circular saw also can't do this angle. So I'm kind of down to a hand saw. If I was doing more of this, I think I'd get a Japanese hand saw. I don't have one. I probably should get one, but I don't do a ton of this type of work, so it's not a big deal. And I have really good pruning saws, and the pruning saws do a really good job because they are really sharp. So it takes a little bit longer, but it worked really well. The angle is, I mean, this is really clean. It's really straight. I mean, you can see, I mean, it is straight. It is a nice cut. So I'm happy with it. It's not shoddy work. So now I'm gonna cut this to the exact length I need, and then we're gonna put it up. And I know I got the angles right this time because I checked. So we'll get this installed, and hopefully we'll be able to move on to something different. Whew. There's the hard bit. Tomorrow, Christine comes home, which will be very exciting for me. Well, for all of us. We all love our Christine. But we are done for the day. I'll show you what we got done. It wasn't a lot, to be honest, because I had a lot of other stuff going on, but I did do the goats. We got this up, which is really nice. I still need to put a couple of supports in between. That's mostly gonna be just to hold my plywood. It's not really structural, anything else I do. We started putting up our blocks in here. They're gonna go all the way around the whole thing. So it seals up the end, for one thing. Helps with critters. Now I'm gonna have to drill holes in these and put little vents, but the vents I'm gonna put in are gonna have very small screens in them, and that's gonna help prevent any bugs or termites or anything like that getting in. It's not gonna prevent everything, but I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm gonna need vents. Without vents, this will be very humid in here and will potentially cause some real issues with rotting and mildew and all kinds of stuff. But those are gonna go all the way along. I put my hurricane straps on. That's what we used to call them. I'm not sure what they're actually called. I'm putting them on the end, as well as I'm putting them up here. The reason I'm putting them up there is because I'm working with true 2-inch wide lumber. I can't get hangers, rafter hangers, joist hangers, whatever you want to call them. I can't get those. So instead, I'm just opting to do this. I know this is overkill, but I don't care. I don't want to ever mess with this again. And for up there, I'm just gonna put one. Once again, I know this is overkill, but I'm just doing the best quality job I can. And sure, it's gonna cost me a few extra dollars, but I don't wanna ever play with this again. We are done for the day. The boys got a bunch of work for me done, as well as a lot of play. And we are gonna go home and enjoy some food because I know Colette made me a warm meal. How do I know that? Because she's made me a warm meal every single night that Christine's been gone, as well as a warm breakfast. And I'm gonna keep hitting this home because I am so impressed with what an amazing kiddo she is. So before we start working on the cooler again, I wanna do something I've been meaning to do, and every time I go to do it, I end up screwing something up. So I wanna try using Herman's electric chainsaw. He's got a really nice electric chainsaw. I wanna try using it. It's not really been used a whole lot. He uses it for cutting some firewood, and that's about it. But I wanna try it in the brush and just see what it's like compared to my gas saw. And the main reason for wanting to try it is because you're gonna hear the difference in the noise. There's a difference, a big difference. It almost makes no noise at all. Listen to those birds, isn't that beautiful? Herman has a electric climbing saw. It was actually, he asked me to get him an electric saw. He wanted one just like my little 200T. What I didn't realize is he didn't mean he wanted a climbing saw. He just meant he wanted one the same size. So I got him a climbing saw because I thought he liked the hand configuration. And it turned out he doesn't mind the hand configuration, but he's left-handed, so it makes it a little awkward for him. I didn't realize that. So there was a little bit of a miscommunication. But he still uses it, and he uses it for cutting firewood. So there is a big difference between the two saws. One thing is my little climbing saw, my 200T saw that I use for doing all the brush work is loud. And this is actually pretty quiet in comparison. Now it is noisy, and that is just kind of part of it, but it's not as bad. So let's just see what looks like. I'm not looking to buy one, but I am interested to see how it cuts. I like the idea of being able to just hit a trigger and not have to have a saw running all the time. I think that's kind of interesting. But if it doesn't cut the same or cut anywhere close to the same, then I'm not really interested. All right, well, I have to say, it's not a bad saw. It cuts really quick. It's got a really fast, like, ramp up. I don't know the exact way you describe it, but it cuts good. It cuts really good. It's a little jerky to me. I think the gas powered has a little bit more maybe torque behind it, or maybe it's got more horsepower. I don't know. It just feels different. This saw feels like just feels a little weaker. It cuts probably faster, but it just feels weaker. And I don't know why, but that's just my first impressions. But I'm also not an arborist, so this saw really wasn't meant for me. It's meant for an arborist who climbs. But it's still interesting, the comparison, for what I do with it. So, all right, we got a few more trees we can clear out of here. How are you, beautiful? How are you? You are beautiful. And come here, handsome boy. Come here, handsome boy. Come on. Yeah. Oh, hi. Hi. I love both of you. How are you doing? You're doing good? Okay, well, that's good. Good to see. Okay. Nice to see you. Everybody's doing good. Okay. Oh, that rubbing makes you moan. All right, well, I'm gonna cut down a tree, so give me a minute, okay? All right, well, let's see if she'll go. Move, Reba. Move, baby. Move, Reba. Good girl. So something I just noticed, I want to show you, and this is something I would only notice if I came back here and was actually working in my timber or in my woods. I think this is a poplar, but look at the leaves. The leaves have all those holes in them. I'm gonna have to look that up and see what causes that, but I think we have something in here eating this. Now, it doesn't seem to be doing damage to anything else, so I'm not gonna really do much, but I am gonna pay attention to it. And I'm gonna look it up. So it's something to look for. I just saw something that I hadn't seen, I hadn't noticed, and I wouldn't have noticed unless I was back here working. So it's one of those things that when you have the opportunity to get on your land and actually work the land, you start to see things and hopefully you can get ahead of things. But we'll have to find out what that is. So this is interesting. I've seen this before. We had it on some of the trees, this type of tree, I think it's a poplar, down at our home farm. And it was killing all of them. They all ended up dying eventually from this, whatever this is. I think it's some type of boar beetle, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a little Doug fir right there that I'm trying to save. And it's a wee little guy, but it will be a big, strong one if I can open up this canopy, because really it just needs a light. If I can open up some canopy above it, it will probably take off and do really good. But I gotta get the canopy open without dropping anything on it. So let's see if we can do that. That wasn't bad. We missed a tree. There's a good one. All right. This one, let's see, can we get this one to fall that way? I don't know. Maybe. We missed it again. Not bad. All right, goats all seem to be fine. They don't move, that's the funny part. The goats just stay there. I drop the trees, they just stay underneath the trees. They don't care. It's going. All right. Goats are crazy. They didn't move. They just moved out of the way of the branches as they fell. I don't even understand how they do that. How do you guys do that? Literally, they just move right out of the way. They move it in between the branches. How do you guys do that? I just dropped a tree and you guys like barely moved. I don't understand it. They do this all the time. I'll be dropping stuff and they just move to the side a little. It's incredible. I don't know. So anyways, this should be more than enough for them. Everybody's happy. I'll show you the little Doug fir. This is a little Doug fir I saved. Now I know right down there I cut down a Doug fir, but it was around a bunch of really healthy ones. And this is a little guy. This is a little guy and he's all by himself. So if I open this up, he's gonna get a lot more sunlight and probably do a lot better because, yeah, I mean, eventually someday he'll be a big tree. Every little tree started small. It's like all of us. Just with time we grow and mature. Oh, let's talk about the saw real quick. I am pretty impressed with it, to be honest. It cuts really fast through wood. Like, it's scary fast the way it cuts through wood. So I'm really impressed with that. It's a little twitchy when it comes to cutting through thin stuff. But I think I just have to get used to it. I think I'm not used to the ramp up of how the motor responds. I do really like my 200T, but I'll tell you right now, this is really nice because none of my neighbors know I'm cutting back here. So that's definitely nice. I'm not sure how I'd like it, you know, in the long run. I do know that I'm not crazy about the battery thing because actually the other day I was going to use this saw to do the same thing I just did, and I was going to talk about it because I wanted to see. I came out and the battery is dead. So I ended up using my other saw because, well, the battery was dead, and I realized how annoying that would be, not being able to just put gas directly into my saw. And I know there are ways around that called charging your battery, but you know, sometimes you just gotta get work done. So I don't think I'd ever switch to completely battery operated saws, but it might be nice for pruning. I think it might be really nice for pruning because I don't have to listen to, you know, you don't have to listen to that all the time. It's just a touch of the button, turn the switch on, touch the button, and I'm cutting. and then it's quiet again, and I can listen to the birds sing and the goats eat and everything around me, and it's beautiful. I like that. I like the serenity of being able to just do small bits of noise and not have to worry about that. Don't take this wrong, the noise pollution of a gas saw. When it comes to doing what I'm doing, I'm not talking about people who, you know, are falling timber or arborist or anything like that. That's the job. But what I'm doing back here is really more of a passion. It's not a job. And so for me, doing what I'm passionate about, I actually kind of like the idea of an electric saw. I don't think I'm gonna buy one. I think I might borrow Herman's occasionally when it's stuff like this, when it's hot out and it's the middle of the summer. But other than that, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool saw. I'm working on the cooler, and here's what I'm working on. I'm putting these blocks in. I already have this side done. I've started this side. Once I'm done with that, I'll start working on my final rafter out here, which is actually more of a faux rafter. It's not really structural, it's just a decorative piece, but it extends the roof a little farther because I am gonna have an electric box on the outside over here. So I want some rain coverage for that. Even though it is a outdoor electric box, I'm really happy with the progress that we're making. And this ended up turning out really nice. Really nice. I'm really happy with the overall design and how it turned out. I'm looking forward to finishing this. I think it's gonna be really beautiful when it's all said and done. And I even have been talking with Herman about a little special something I want to do. Let me show you. So at the bottom of this hill over here are these grapes. Now these grapes have never done good. Herman has told me this over and over again. This set of grapes have always struggled to produce much of anything. And so he kind of let them go. And you can see there's maples in here. It is an absolute and utter mess, okay? That's because it hasn't been maintained or anything done with it in a long time, because not only did Herman not do anything with it, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't do anything with it specifically because Herman told me they never produced, they never did much. So we're gonna take all these out. And this is where I'm going to do my shady garden, cool weather garden. Basically the plants that like a cooler area and more shade, because not only is it on the north side, it's on the northwest side of the hill. It's got all these trees right here that create a lot of shade, as well as the trees over there. So this gets a lot of shade. This is gonna be perfect for all kinds of things that like shade. Herman just said they didn't really ripen. They really didn't perform. So we're gonna take them out. But here's what I talked to Herman about, is we're gonna take them and we're gonna put a couple of the plants in a special area. Let me show you where that is. So this is the special place we are going to put probably 2 or 3 of those grape plants. The idea is that we are going to put a trellis along the side of the cooler. This is the east side of the cooler. And then I'll put some trellising going up, okay? So the idea is that we'll get these vines to climb up and over the top of the cooler, and it'll actually create shade for the cooler. It'll actually help the cooler be cooler. I know, dad joke. So that's the idea. The idea is we're gonna put a trellis here on this side. We're gonna put a trellis, like basically like some high tensile wire on the outside, and we'll put them going up the top of it as well. And then as the vines grow and they get bigger and bigger, we'll just push them or keep connecting them up and not trim them back. How do I know that this will work? Let me show you, because Herman's done it all over his place. And whether it was on purpose or by accident, it looks really beautiful. Here's Herman's cabin, and this is one of the grapevines. And he ends up with grapes hanging right in front of his door. And so right now this doesn't go over the top like I want it to do, but it does look really nice. So that's one of the things that we're gonna be doing here. One of the unique bits about this is we're gonna actually use grapes to help create shade for our cooler, so that way the sun is blocked from even heating up the outside of the cooler. Get him, Harmon!
My hand!
You need a stick.
Oh! Beat him with the stick, Herman.
Yeah.
Ow, my ear!
You got your ear? Did you give his hat back? Where's his hat? Where's his hat? Where's
Oh, this is gonna be so fun to enjoy.
Don't touch it.
SOS! I got Joyce right
Where's
here.
your hat?
I don't know, the kid's got it.
Where's his hat?
I didn't get it. It was play.
There you go, Harmon.
No, no,
You can have his ears back.
no.
Have the kid back. Yeah.
Get him good.
I can handle these little rats yet.
Yeah, you got him good, Herman. Get him good.
She's not gonna torture me because I sound big before and you said okay.
You gonna be a good kid now?
My hand! Oh my gosh, Jagger! Wait!
You gonna
It's
be
good to see those guys playing. I was over there working and all I hear is, I can handle little kids like you. I walk over and he's got Clint by his ears. He's got him by his ears again. I just looked over. It's good for both of them. Herman's gonna torture him until Clint tells him where his hat is, because Clint stole Herman's hat. So I'll show you what I'm doing. What I have is I have some blocks. These are 2x6 blocks, and they're gonna be screwed on the back side of this to hold my outside rafter on. So it'll look really nice, and it will finish off the roof, finish off this side, and cover up that electrical panel that I was talking about. So I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, I'm done for the night. The kids are done playing with Herman. He's actually talking to his sister Erica, and I'll show you what I got done. It's not a ton. Most of what I did today was kind of boring stuff, but it was Sunday, took Herman to church, and then came back and fed the goats like you saw, and then we started working on this. All right, so here's what I got. I cut off the ridge beam, so it was out to about here. So I cut that off, cut it back to 8 inches. The reason I'm going for 8 inches is because I'm gonna put a 2x8 rafter that goes all the way down and down this way as well. And that'll be nailed to the end. Once again, like I said, it's less structural and more aesthetic, but it functions to also cover this wall from rain. I don't need a lot of coverage, just enough. Okay, and this is what it looks like up here, because so far everything you guys have seen has been from the bottom. So now you're seeing it from the top. And it looks good. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with how it's framed out. The only thing I need to do is I need to put boards at the end right here that match this angle coming out here that are 8 inches. And I need to do the same thing down there on that side, right down there. And then I'll be done with this side other than putting my rafters on. So this is actually Sunday night, so you guys will see this tomorrow morning. So it's been an amazing week, amazing weekend. Got a lot of stuff done, and I'm really happy with where it's at. It's gonna probably be a few days before I get back on this because I have work this week, and so I'll probably be able to get some evenings up here, get a little done here and a little done there. So from here out, it's not super complex. I need to put the plywood on, then my tar paper, then my roofing, and then I can start working on the interior. And we'll do that probably over the course of the next week or so. I don't really have a lot of other projects going on. This is kind of the big one right now. So I'm hoping to wrap it up as quick as I can for obvious reasons. One thing is I want my cooler and I want it working. And then after we do this, I've already started over here, and you can see I've started cleaning this area out. This is where the old house was. And what I'm gonna actually do is I'm going to gravel this, and this is gonna be a turnaround for us as well as parking. So this is gonna get us kind of away from having to do big K-turns and everything over there and park over there. We're gonna be able to park some vehicles over here and kind of have them out of the way, especially the stuff that we don't use every day, as well as have a way to turn all the way around without having to do a K-turn, which is gonna make it a lot easier when people are coming up here, as well as when I'm up here. So, all right, well, thank you so much for joining me today on A Simple Life, and we'll see you soon. Bye.